Meatball George, how are you
Hey,
tonight?
hello, brother Buffalo brother John. How are you? It's
I'm
good to
good.
talk to
I'm
you
good.
again. Um,
Yeah,
it's hot here in Omaha. It's in the lower 90s.
had
It's
some
gonna be,
scorchers. Yeah.
last weekend was 100. This weekend it's gonna approach, maybe break that 100 mark again. And I'm ready for football.
I tell you what, of course, I'm in Central Florida, so it's supposed to be hot here. Today we were surprised with thunderstorms, and not the heat generated. We had thunderstorms all day long. In fact, on my little area of Florida, we were under a thunderstorm watch until 8 p.m. tonight.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry to hear that. But just before we got together here, I was watching this video. A guy was ranking the top 5 defenses that he believes is going to be in this upcoming season in the NFL.
Okay, that sounds exciting.
And at number 5, he's got the Eagles.
All right.
Number 4, he had San Diego Chargers.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. Well, that's interesting.
Number 3, he had Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right.
And he said Tampa Bay Buccaneers led by this great kid, Levante David.
Yeah.
Levante David played for Nebraska.
Sure.
So I watched him play a lot, and he was good. But it's a shame that the team stunk. We had a great guy like that, and we had 4 wins. You know what I mean? So I felt bad for him having to struggle through that college, but I'm happy for him now. He's being identified as the top guy on his team in defense. That's incredible.
It is.
And then number 2, they had what do you think? Because you think I would remember, right? Number 1 was the Bills.
Oh, he did have the Bills. What I thought you were going to say, the Bills were not in his top 5.
No, they were number 1.
Okay.
I can't remember who was number 2. A guy did speak up, another guy and said, well, what about San Francisco? You don't have them in their top 5, but I think they might be able to crack it by the end of the year. Well, okay, well, I agree with you. They got a good defense, but they're not in my top 5 so far.
Okay.
But I can't remember who they ranked number 2. But I thought it was interesting about Levante David and any Nebraska fans that are out there, since I'm in Omaha, and I've got you to watch a lot of Nebraska games, and so you're maybe familiar with him. Plus, being in Florida, I'm familiar with Tampa Bay.
The last 2 years, there have been times when the defense, the Cornhusker defense has played pretty well in some games.
Yes, this last year they only won 4 or 5 games, but they were a great defense.
Yeah, it's a shame that they can't
score.
Yeah,
I mean, they lose to they lost to Oklahoma by less than 1 score, Ohio State less than 1 score. I mean, it went on and on and on. They could have easily been a 10-win team, but no.
Well,
they had the defense to do it. It was a quarterback situation.
Quarterback play was something that
they had that kid Wan'Dale Robinson, a wide receiver, that a great gadget guy that somebody picked up. I would have liked to.
She transferred to Kentucky.
Yeah,
and I think that the Giants picked him up in the draft. Yeah, the Giants got him. I'm interested to see how he does in the NFL.
Yeah, I wish him the best, as long as it's not in a Super Bowl against the Bills.
There you go. All right. Well, I think the Giants have got a ways to go before they're in the Super Bowl. But all right. So we wanted to talk today a little bit. The OTAs are over.
Right.
The mandatory OTAs are over. And as far as we know, it was mandatory, and all the notable characters were in-house. Boyer was there, Micah Hyde was there. As far as we know that Josh Allen missed a day because he had to go play golf. But that was an excused absence, if you will. As far as we know, all the notable players were there. Everyone that's expected to be on the 53-man roster or who have best chances, if you will, to make it, we're all there. So, but we've noticed a few things that they've done with the wide receiver group. And I don't know if you caught this, but they Touchdown Jesus was cut.
No, I didn't catch that.
Well, they cut him having something to do with the cap.
Okay.
But they cut him with an expectation, and then the very next day they re-signed him.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't about money; it was about cap and cap space. So something technical there. You know, sometimes at the end of training camp, you'll see teams do something like that where they want to put someone on IR.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put them on IR and during training camp, you lose them for the whole year.
Right. Okay.
But if you wait until they make the 53-man roster and then put them on IR, you can get them back during the year.
Okay.
And so they have somebody like the long snapper. He's been with the team for I don't know how many, over a dozen years.
Right.
They arrange with him. He gets cut the next day. Then the 53-man roster set, and then they put this guy on IR, creating a roster spot, and Ferguson gets signed again.
Okay.
And for him, he probably gets a little raise out of it, or he gets a little bump and he gets a little cash up front for it, you know?
Okay.
So that's great. And I don't understand it exactly. It really, I never haven't seen it explained. Generally, it's June 1st when you see these kind of cap challenges. And so I don't know why in the middle of June they had to do something like that, but they did it. It's over. He's resigned. But we both noted, is it Tavon Austin?
Tavon Austin
Was signed, I think, just before the OTA started.
Right.
And there were some cuts. They did cut a couple of players, but nobody particularly notable. And it seemed more like logistic issues. They weren't going to be able to make the camp. So they cut two, they signed two, and Tavon was one of the guys that they signed. Maybe those players even asked to be released. I'm not sure. So Tavon, I know that I've heard that when he was interviewed by the press, he really came across as humble, ready to do whatever, excited to be invited to a camp by a team as good as the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And in his own words, or I shouldn't say like that because I'm not quoting him, but he seemed to have the attitude of whatever I could do to help the team, I'll do. You know,
I saw his interview, and you're describing it exactly perfectly.
Okay.
He was excited, but he was appreciative. He was energetic, but he was humble. He was like, I'll do whatever they ask me to do, whether it's returning punts or kickoffs or catching passes. And he said, what really matters, and what I took away from him is what he said is, if you make plays, the ball will find you.
Okay.
And then he explained is like, you know, if you just do your job, you do what they ask you to do, and you make plays, you don't make mistakes, you make plays. And when you do have an opportunity, they will continue to get you the ball, because then they can trust you, and then they can, and that's what I want to do. I'm not coming onto the team like you should be giving it to me. No, I will earn my position. And as far as being a wide receiver and making catches and playing, let me earn it. Just give me a chance and I'll do my best to make plays at whatever opportunity you give me to do. And I'll let everything else work itself out. I thought that was fantastic. And it was really exciting to hear a player be humbled by himself and just want to play the game. And so I wish him the very best.
Yeah, I hear you. He's not particularly tall. I think he's only about 5'8", 5'7".
Yeah.
So we'd have to put him back to back with McKenzie to see who's even taller.
Right.
But that's a young man that that's a gentleman that will be competing for that gadget play role, the kick returner role, the backup wide receiver role. And we'll see if he makes the team or not. He's probably going to get some play in the preseason.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was thinking about it. It's like, Beasley is gone. I liked what Beasley did for the team. I appreciate everything, but I didn't think he was the future of the Bills, Beasley. And his backup obviously was McKenzie. I don't think that Gabe Davis was his backup, Beasley's. I think that McKenzie's was his backup. And so what did the Bills do when they lost Beasley is they went out and picked up Jamison Crowder.
Yes, they did.
And if Jamison Crowder, who is a specialist at slot receiving and can get you better yaks, what is McKenzie's role? And if you're not sure what McKenzie's role is, are you bringing Tavon Austin to come in to compete with McKenzie for a role that we don't even know what it is? I can understand they picked up Shakir is a rookie,
right?
And how they do with like a fifth round rookie. They're gonna try him out and see what I don't think they got a spot for him yet. I'm not saying they've penciled him in as our future slot guy. He hasn't done anything yet. So
right,
give him an opportunity to do it. But when you've got a McKenzie in front of him, and you've got now Tavon Austin in front of him, and you've got Marquez Stevenson, you're not sure if he's the punt return guy or whatever. What between those three guys? What is the role that they're competing for? And John, I think that they're competing for return guy.
Okay.
And I don't think the Bills, as they're marching towards the Super Bowl, are penciling in a rookie to be their return guy. And they know already what they got in McKenzie.
Right.
And what did they do? They went out and got another guy. So
yeah, they did.
I'm thinking McKenzie might be the one on the line. Now, in the preseason, if McKenzie can outplay Tavon Austin, then, Tavon, thank you. And we appreciate your willingness to do whatever, but we got somebody better. But I don't think the Bills are confident that McKenzie's their guy.
I believe it was going into the Patriot game, the first one, in Buffalo with the bad weather. They didn't dress McKenzie. And after the game was over, of course, the Bills lost. Okay. And the coach was in a bad mood. But I don't remember if it was post-game press conference or the next day. But he's asked, why not dress McKenzie? You had Micah Hyde back there catching. Why not? What was the decision? What was the thought process there? And instead of giving a cliche, he actually said, we wanted someone that we thought, we didn't think there would be a big play on a return game. We were looking for sure-handedness. Someone who could deal with the bad weather and just catch the ball. So McKenzie's reaction was, what? Like, what are you talking about? That's me, right? Like, I understand you're not, because of the bad weather, you're worried about possession and not worried about trying to make a play. I get that. But I'm still your guy. But he wasn't.
Right.
Micah Hyde, who hasn't really done it and it's, you know, he hasn't been the main return guy in years. Coach wanted him out there.
John, the Bills lost in the playoffs this year because of special teams. And in this particular case, it was us kicking away, you know, okay, but it was still on special teams. And I think they're trying to improve their special teams. They brought in Bass last year. They drafted a punter this year. That helps that side of the special teams. And now they've got to look at the other side of the special teams. You want a weapon. You don't want just somebody to get you possession and don't worry, Josh Allen's going to always march at 87 yards down the field. You want a weapon in every aspect where you can get the ball.
Yeah, you want.
I understand.
I hear you.
Okay.
You want a weapon, but they gotta have. You can't worry about a muff.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand.
You gotta have both.
Bad weather game. The coach might say it's bad weather. Just get possession. Don't worry about a return unless it's there for you. Just get the possession and get us the ball. Okay, and Buffalo does have some weather issues sometimes, but it's not 17 games a year.
No, right.
And they don't have a weapon since Andre Roberts.
Yeah, Roberts. Yeah.
And they had that weapon in Andre Roberts, and I think they're looking for a weapon again. And I think that McDermott is a guy that wants to trust a veteran in that situation, and he's got McKenzie. He knows what he's got. Stevenson, you know, he's only been there a year or two, and now he's bringing in another veteran. And I think he's going to try and figure out who gives me the opportunity to get a weapon on punt returns. As if you got a number 1 or even a number 5 defense, you should be getting some punts.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you want a weapon on that side of the ball. And I think that's what he's looking for. And you got McKenzie and you've got Tavon Austin. You know, they're both can. I don't know. Your picture went out, John.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. My camera is definitely. So go ahead and talk, and I'll see if I can fix it. And then if not, we might go ahead and just kind of. Oh,
there you are.
Maybe I'm coming back. Hey guys.
Hey, there you are. Yes. So I kind of lost my train, but you know what I'm saying is that I think they want a weapon. You want the assuredness of you're not going to have the turnover. You want to have comfort in you're going to be able to get possession and maintain possession, right? And you want that confidence there to be very high. And he maybe he doesn't feel that's as high with McKenzie. You know, and also Austin is an NFL experienced wide receiver.
He is. So just to go along with that,
McKenzie's an experienced backup.
Yes. Just to go along with my thought, the other side of that coin is how explosive are they?
Mm-hmm.
With Micah Hyde, he might feel he gets great hands, and every time he sends him out there, he's going to get possession. Right. But there may not be much explosiveness there.
Right.
And if he feels that McKenzie is too much this way, or this explosiveness isn't high enough for the risk,
right,
that could be the need for change. With Andre Roberts, you had high assurance and confidence.
Yes.
You know, didn't he have some sort of stat his last year with the Bills where he was his average return yards was the highest of all the return guys? Yeah. Even though he didn't necessarily break get a score necessarily, he had high return yards.
He was getting like 18 yards or something.
Yeah. So he was getting you a first down every time he touched the ball.
You know, if they punted it to him and he caught it on the 15, all of a sudden he's over the 30-yard line when your quarterback comes out there. So he's giving you the ball in good field position. And I think that's what they're looking for.
And that, you might have something there. And I think, you may have really sniffed that out. I was telling. So, and then late in the season, then they start letting, is it Stevenson?
Yeah.
They start dressing him and start letting him have a shot kind of late in the season. Of course, unfortunately, I think he had a turnover. And that kind of ended his little spurt, little trial. So I think you're going to have him, McKenzie, and maybe Tavon all kind of competing for this same position.
You remember the game, the New England game in the second part of the season when McKenzie had all those receptions.
Yes.
And over 100 yards. And
yes. Big game for him. He really stepped
11
up.
receptions. And I remember they talked to Josh Allen. He said, I was so happy for McKenzie. He's a guy that really deserves it. And I was thinking to myself, the only reason you talk that way about you, I feel so good for him, is because you knew he was on a bubble.
Okay.
And I think that's why Josh was saying, here's a guy that's he's working hard every day, but he just can't seem to crack it, And so now they let him play in that game, and what did New England do? They're like, who gives a crap about him? We just won't cover him. And so he had a good game because they didn't cover him. He caught the ball, but I don't think he's the threat that people thought of after that game. And I just don't think he's the future of the Bills. Now, I don't know about Tavon Austin. He's at the later end of his career. Do they think that this new rookie is going to be the next guy? We don't know. He hasn't shown anything yet. He hasn't caught one pass yet in a game. So, but he's not going to be the guy this year unless he develops that quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin make the team and maybe McKenzie or Stevenson hit the road.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that's possible. I'm not sure. So with McKenzie, if after that game against the Patriots where he had 10 receptions and they didn't treat him like, wow, we got ourselves a weapon here we didn't realize.
Yeah, they weren't like all excited, like, oh my God, we just got the next coming here.
He didn't start sharing time with Beasley. Like Beasley came back the next week.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't start sharing time with him. They weren't out there like, oh, we got to work him into the lineup. We got to get him more opportunities. He just kind of went back to doing what he was doing before. Backing up wide receiver.
Backing up wide receiver.
Kind of a gadget guy that
he knows the playbook. If somebody got hurt, he could step in. He could run an end around or something. And
he proved his value that he was ready to go when they needed him.
Yes,
there
absolutely.
is value there.
You give him credit, right? Yeah.
And that might be something that helps him make the team this year.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're wrong that, between the rookie, I keep forgetting his name, Stevenson, now they got Tavon Austin in camp. These guys are all kind of situated where any one of them could win that role.
Yeah. Khalil Shakir. And you've got Beasley gone.
Yeah.
You've got McKenzie on a 2-year contract. They signed him to. You've got Crowder on a 1-year contract. You've got Austin on a 1-year contract, and you got a rookie. So quite frankly, we haven't decided who our slot guy is for the future. We just know that they signed a veteran in Crowder, who's really pretty good. If you got to have a veteran, he's really very underrated. I think you're going to be really happy with him, but he's not a long-term
solution.
No, because he's at a later part of his career, and whether Shakir is going to be the answer. We don't know. I hope he is, but we don't know.
So listen, we have had a very nice talk here, kind of about like Mackenzie's role and whether or not his role is a camp, going to be a camp battle coming into camp. Like that's an expected position that's going to be fought for. Like,
right.
Well, we won't get an answer really until we see training camp.
Right.
And how they actually use these fellas, especially with Shakir.
Right.
But that was very interesting. What do you say we hang on and do another video and maybe talk a little bit about Gabe Davis and what his
I'd love to do that.
Expectation really is. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for everyone for watching. I hope you enjoy our Buffalo Brothers presentation here. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up. Let us know you liked it.
Here, I'll give you one.
Thank you. Back at you. All right. And
okay, John.
And there goes my camera again.
All right,
George.
Well, thank you, everybody. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Ending the video.